Hey there, it's Pete with GCI Turf. I hope you're having a great day today. I want to welcome you out here to my home, welcome you to my test plot. This is turf type tall fescue, non-irrigated. And you know, if you like me, I got 3 kids and you know, I work a full-time job still. And man, I'm telling you, time is something, it's hard to come by, I'm telling you. So I like to be as efficient as possible, but at the same time, I need to be accurate, okay? Meaning I need to be able to apply the correct amount of product or the correct amount of fertilizer to the right area or the right square footage. And that kind of plays off, you know, owning a spray company, and I've really dived into that part of it with an extreme passion. And I really like the equipment side of things. So what I'm gonna do is show you how I'm gonna fertilize this. I'm going to protect this area from grubs and armyworms, and I'm going to help with heat stress because, you know, we're going into the summer. Things are cooking up. We ain't had a lot of rain here. We've been 85, 90 degrees, super high wind. Okay, holy cow, has it been windy here. And I want you to understand that just not heat and lack of rain dries the ground out. Wind really will dry the ground out really quickly. So you want to pay attention to that. If you have 4 or 5 days in a row like we've had of super high winds, you want to make sure you stay on top of the water. So today I've got the Protein Summer fertilizer, which is a 12024. I've also got some Acelyprin G, which I look at that as kind of a preventative type on grub control and armyworm control as well. What was it, about 3 or 4 years ago maybe? We had 2 really bad back-to-back hurricanes in the fall. And according to NC State, they think that one of the hurricanes brought the armyworms in and they destroyed my yard. They really done a really bad number on it. I lost probably, I don't know, 30% of my turf maybe. And ever since that day, I've been on high alert for armyworms. No, we don't really deal with them around here, but like I said, we had an abnormal fall and the hurricane supposedly brought them in, dumped them, and man, I'm not taking that chance no more. And then of course grub worms, you know, grubs are about to come up out of the ground before too much longer. They'll be flying around as little beetles and eating all the leaves on all the trees and all that. And then they'll lay eggs, and then it kind of starts all over. Well, I want to break that cycle. Okay, well, the cycle's been broken in my yard, but I want to continue to add and continue to protect my yard because, you know, here's the way I kind of see it. Even though I've got protection here and I killed off maybe that initial load of grubs that I may have had in my yard, you know, 4, 5, 6, 8 years ago, whatever. You know, beetles everywhere. You know, they're all over the place. I mean, heck, I don't know what this guy back here does. I don't know. He may have grubs and may have a whole slew of grubs down there, and they're going to hatch. And, you know, beetles, they free to roam. They can go where they want to. So there's nothing to keep them from coming and flying in my yard and dropping eggs. So I like to continuously keep that level of protection against the bugs in the ground. I like to keep it protected, so that's what I'm doing today out here. I've already done my yard, but I'm gonna do it out here today. And then last but not least, I'm gonna put down the cow tide. That's a combination product. It's a 101, so there's very little nitrogen and potassium in there. And the star of the show in the cow tide is the calcium glucoheptanate is what it's called. It's a bunch of different forms of calcium, and the reason I went with the glucoheptanate is because it is readily available to the plant. Meaning as soon as I apply it, the plant can use it, take it in. It can be foliar absorbed, meaning the leaf tissue on the grass can take that material in and use it. Then it can get watered in, the root system can take it up and use it. It's just a very high grade of calcium that is readily plant available, and that's really the reason I went with that particular ingredient in that mix. You know, you drink your milk, and milk does the body good. You know what I mean? Makes those bones nice and strong and healthy. Well, calcium kind of has that same role inside the plant as far as making the cell walls of the plant maybe thicker, tougher, or stronger, so they can help battle that stressful summer time that we're going into here real soon. And that's really the reason I use a liquid form of calcium, is to combat heat stress. That's the same reason it's in the 505 that I use for spoon feeding with my fungicides. I got that little bit of calcium in there, and I'm continuously working on the heat stress. And also part of cow tide, where it gets the last part of the name, the tide, it's got those root hair promoting peptides in it. Now in the protein, that's a 12024, and I know you've heard people tell you for years, don't fertilize cool season turf going into the summer or in the summer. Well, I personally feel like that's hogwash. I have been doing it for years, and my take on that, and again, this is my opinion, I don't go off what other people say. I grow my own turf, and then I like to share that experience with you, and you can experiment and try things out, maybe the way I do it, or maybe kind of, you know, have your own little spin off of it or whatever. But that's why I like showing these things, is because a lot of the times it goes against the grain of what you know, other people in the past or whoever have told you. And I want you to know there's more than one way to skin a cat. So yeah, I've been feeding fescue. Heck, I've been feeding this bluegrass. I feed that bluegrass all summer long. All summer long. In the hottest part of the summer, I feed that Kentucky bluegrass some pretty good fertilizer. And matter of fact, it's kind of like milk does the body good, the food does the turf good. I'm telling you that now. Now, by no means am I recommending you go out and hammer your yard with nitrogen during the middle of summer. And of course, Bermuda grass is different. We're talking about cool season turf here. No way do I recommend that. That's why the summer protein is blended like it is. It's a 12024. I'm gonna run 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet, and at that rate, I'm gonna get roughly about maybe a half a pound of nitrogen, and then the potassium part of it, I'm gonna get right about a pound of potassium I'm gonna put down. The nitrogen part is the green and grow, okay? That's why I use lesser of the nitrogen on my cool season turf in the summer. I don't want heavy growth. I'm not trying to tell the grass to jump out of the ground screaming. We're past that now, okay? We're done with the heavy feeding with nitrogen on fescue until we get back into the fall. But at the same time, I still want to feed the turf, because the nitrogen's green in color, right? Gonna give it some color. And I want to help maintain that pretty green color throughout the entire summer. And the potassium in there, it's all about stress type things and strengthening the plant and helping it to fight off bugs and helping it to withstand high temperatures and lack of rain and stuff like that. So hopefully you kind of seeing the gist of this whole thing. What's all this got in common? Well, cool season turf, going into the summertime, heat stress. I'm preparing the grass to go into a hot period of time that, you know, typically the fescue don't like the heat, but I'm going to teach my grass and try and train my grass over a period of time that it can handle the heat better than it normally does. And I'm going to do that with what I put on it, how I apply it. I might even do that. You can see I got my sprinkler back here running. That's because I'm watering in everything I just put down. I might water a little bit back here, but back here I really don't get into watering a lot because of my time. Unless I put an application down, I just don't see any rain, yeah, I'll water it in. Or if this gets like really stressed out, if it like goes super long period of time with no water whatsoever and real high heat, you know, at the end of the day, I don't care what you put on the grass. There's only so much you can do to it to maintain this really nice, lush, rich green color. If it goes so long without water and it's super high heat, you can expect it to stress. I don't care what you put on it. And if we get into one of those time periods, yeah, I'll water a little bit. But other than that, man, I just mow and go back here, baby. That's about it. Here's your little tip on mowing non-irrigated fescue. If you get hot and dry, or you see a period coming up, it's real hot and dry, no rain, stay off the grass. I'm telling you, stay off of it. Don't mow it. You'll be much better off. So basically, I come out here with my little earthway spreader. You know, I've been showing those. And on about setting number 15 is roughly the setting. If you have that particular earthway, that's the setting you want to use with the protein summer, the 12024. Prill size is really small, easy to spread. And I pretty much made one pass over the whole area right here. This is roughly 10,000 square feet. And I may have had a little bit left over in the bottom, but I kind of just lost it out in the yard. Then as soon as I did that, I went on and put my celiprin in. Now this celiprin is a slightly smaller prill, a little smoother in texture, so it's probably going to flow out of the spreader a little easier. So I backed my setting down to 14 on that one. On the celiprin, I ran the high rate. It's 2.3 pounds per 1,000. I got 10,000 square feet back here. So no, I don't multiply 2.3 times 10,000. If you do that and put that much back here, you might end up killing bugs in China. So the way you do that math is super easy. I'm going to take that 2.3 pounds of product that I'm going to be running, and I'm going to take the 10,000 square feet. I know there are 10 1,000 square feet in 10,000 square feet. So I multiply 2.3 times 10. I get 23 pounds. The bag actually happened to be a 25-pound bag. So what I did was took the excess 2 pounds and put it over here on my 1,000 square feet of Kentucky bluegrass, and everything is hunky-dory. The same math that I used for that, I use with the protein. 4 pounds per 1,000 square feet times the number 10, and I get 40 pounds, and it's magically a 40-pound bag, so everything is hunky-dory. Cow-tied, I use my strom right here, and basically when I sprayed, I used my stripes to spray by. I would walk right down the middle of one of the dark greens, and I would spray to the outer edge of that light stripe and the outer edge of that light stripe. Now last but not least, I'm getting this watered in with my big sprinkler set up, and that's the jumbo sled right there. I've got a little pressure pump set up over there to give me a little bit more zap, and I'm actually covering the entire length of the road right there with one sprinkler head. As soon as I get done with this video, I'm gonna start filming a watering video, and I'll show you that setup here pretty soon. That's almost 60 feet is how far that thing's throwing, so it is really putting it out there, which is great because I can cover a whole lot of area with one sprinkler head. I think that's pretty cool. I got a little touch of heat stress kind of kicking in on the slope of the ditch over there, and then my normal little spot right here that I've been dealing with for years. I think it's just a area hard pan right there, and no matter what I do, unless it rains a lot, then that little spot stresses out a little bit. So I got this set up for an hour. I got my timer on my phone running. In an hour I'll move it, and that'll give me a good soaking on this right here. Get that fertilizer activated, get my celiprin going, get the cow tied watered in. And while this is running, I'll start filming another video. Or heck, I might go do something else up here around the house. At Ellie Hose Reel, I put one up on my building out here. You know, I got one at the house, I put one at the shop, and I put one out here. I absolutely love that thing. It has made a huge difference not having to drag 2 or 3 hose pipes around and hook them up and all that kind of crap and hang them up on the wall and blah blah blah. When I get done, all I do is got to roll that thing up and I'm done. So hey, all this stuff, I'll link it all up in the description below. You can check it out if you want to. And as always, I absolutely appreciate you watching this and taking time out of your day to do it. And come on back, subscribe and share and tell all your buddies. And we'll keep on growing this fescue back here until this fall. We're going to smoke it off. And all this is going to become Kentucky bluegrass. I cannot wait to show you that. I'll check you later.